And a warm welcome for your next storyteller. Let's hear it for Keith, everybody. Keith.
I was raised by divorced, loving parents with very different outlooks on life. My mom was the devout Catholic with a very silly personality. I remember when she came to visit me living overseas, and she brought with her this toy penguin from my childhood, but she didn't give it to me. She hid it in my apartment for me to find months later and be totally confused by. My dad, on the other hand, was a religiously skeptical intellectual who spent way too much time developing conspiracy theories. And if you ever tried to debunk one of his theories using straight-up logic, he would just shake his head and say nonchalantly, "Boy, have they got you fooled." Like most people, I am just like my parents in so many ways, but I don't believe in God or conspiracy theories for that matter. And I always prided myself on navigating life's complexities, believing exclusively in empirical science and the power of reason, which honestly isn't that impressive when you're a white male growing up in a wealthy American suburb. And it wasn't until 3 years ago that those beliefs got shaken up. In January 2014, my dad passed away very suddenly of a heart attack. It wasn't his first heart attack. He drank too much. He smoked. He didn't exercise. It broke my heart. I miss him every day. But I understand why it happened. But less than 8 months after he died, my brother called me up and told me that our mom had been on the beach that morning with friends when a freak storm came in, and she was struck by lightning. She was shot 20 feet across the stand and was now unconscious at Mass General Hospital. On the overnight drive to Boston, my head is spinning trying to make sense of this. And when I get to the hospital, honestly, she looks pretty good. Her vitals are pretty good. So as a big family, we each just kind of take turns sitting by her bedside and waiting for her to wake up. On the fourth morning, I happen to be sitting by her bedside, holding her hand in silence when the doctors come in. They look at her charts and tell me what I know. That having seen no response by now, we need a miracle. And that word sticks in my head because my mom believes passionately in the power of miracles. But I don't, which makes me feel really distant from her in that moment. And it makes me feel as if my disbelief has the power to veto the miracle or something. So I'm trying to believe, because we have one last chance. The next day, we're getting her MRI results back, and those could change everything. As soon as the results come in, the doctor pulls me, my aunt, and my big brother into this little conference room and closes the door. The results are unequivocal: massive brain damage. And with those words, the person who literally carried me into this world, and has been there for me for everything every day since, is just gone. So I burst into tears. My brother stares at the floor, and my aunt just starts talking about what an amazing life her baby sister lived in just 69 years, and how she built that meaningful life upon 3 pillars: family, friends, and faith. 2 days later, we individually and as a family say our goodbyes, pull the plug, and let her go. And then we go back to her house, the home that I grew up in, and where I've woken up every Christmas morning of my life. And I go down to my old bedroom, and I'm digging through an old toy chest for some reason. And near the bottom, I find my 14-inch Boba Fett Star Wars action figure that I practically worshipped as a little boy. And I remember how sad I was when the dog chewed off his jetpack and his cape, and I had to throw them away. And this misfit toy is what I'm clutching when I just kind of say into space, "Mom, you know I don't share your beliefs, but if you're out there and you want to give me a sign that you're okay, I will try to see it." That night, we make a big family dinner, all hands on deck. We drink a ton of wine. We tell stories. We laugh. We cry. And I can hear my mom's laughter. I can see her sentimentality etched in each of us. And when I wake up the next morning, the first thing I see as I open my eyes is Boba Fett. And he's sitting on the nightstand, kind of watching over me. And then I notice that he's wearing the cape and the jetpack that I swear to God we threw away like 30 years ago. And believe me when I say, I am not insisting my dead mother spoke to me through a miracle she performed with a Star Wars action figure. But I'm also not willing to insist that either I misremember what that goddamn dog did to my Boba Fett, or that this was just a neurological coping mechanism, because in those moments is when I'm beginning to accept that life is a lot more complicated and mysterious than what I can rationally explain, and I need to let go of my demand for scientific certainty and maybe open myself up to a little bit of faith. I still don't believe in God. I'm on the fence a little bit. But I do believe that it was my parents' time and that they have found much deserved peace. And when I say that out loud, the skeptic in me still rolls his eyes and says, faith is a crutch, man, you know that. And to that, I really think I have only one appropriate response. Boy, have they got you fooled. Thank you.
Peace, everybody.